What are your thoughts on just the idea that's been either reported or put out there, however you want to phrase it, but the Pac-12 alliance? We know how the initial alliance went. Some can argue that it served its purpose because there's not an expanded playoff right now, and they got that done, and so it worked in the long run. But as we've seen, there's other things going on. What are kind of the thoughts on the alliance part one and potentially, doing something with the Pac and keeping them afloat?
Right. Well, I think the original alliance, it was a lot of, we looked each other in the eye and we made a gentleman's agreement. We had a handshake, but there was nothing really in writing to really lock any of that down. And now we have seen why. It's USC and UCLA were moving on to greener pastures. So with this new alliance, quote unquote, with the ACC and what remains of the Pac-12, I'm not convinced of its staying power unless there is something actually done in writing, because we saw how weak the first alliance was.
It's interesting because there is that thought that two conferences will gobble up everybody. Can you actually see that, Michael, happening, that there will just be two conferences? Or do you still feel like there will be 4 or 5 Power Fives, and then just the other two get more people in the college football championship playoff?
Right. Well, I really do think that we're heading more and more toward the two superpowers option. I think with the eyes that are on college football and how much money the big-time college football programs rake in, and money drives everything in college athletics these days. That's just how it is. And it's survival of the fittest out there. And if you're not in one of those two conferences, you are not getting the amounts of money that the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Michigans, the Ohio States are getting. And that's going to mean you're not getting as good practice facilities, you're not drawing as many recruits, and you're not winning as many games. That's just how it is. So I really do think that if we continue on this course that we are on, it's going to be those two super conferences, quote unquote.
Which would North Carolina want to be a part of if they had their choice? I
think I'm a UNC alum. I've spent a lot of time in Chapel Hill. I think probably the Big Ten, just because UNC and Michigan they kind of view each other as sister schools, sort of. They're in that public Ivy conversation. They play each other a lot in men's basketball. They're playing each other again this December. So I think the Big Ten is where UNC would probably want to lean.
And Mac Brown,